name is Alyssa Jones and welcome to my new video. It is January 2nd, 2023. I had hoped to film a video back in November, December, and it just didn't happen. The main issue was I got a couple colds and it just destroyed my voice and it just wouldn't work. And then if I was healthy, it was holiday time and I was busy. So now that things are calming, it's the last day of my vacation, I'm healthy, I figured I would film a video and share with you my plans for 2023. This video is not a whip parade, but it's not far off because I've worked on a lot of different things over the past week or two, and even before that. I just want to share with you, I did get a planner for the new year, so I got this one. I know a lot of people use the Book of Days and love putting stickers in it, but I had to find a planner that was already like cued up for me because I know I won't spend the time, like you can see here, that it's already cute. I didn't put a single sticker in there. And it changes for each month. And if we look ahead at next December, look how adorable is that, right? So this is mainly my stitching planner, although I'll put normal day-to-day stuff in here too. Like I had to go to the bank today, which was a fail because it was an observed holiday, just so you know. Don't go if it's on your list. And there's also, you know, like I keep track of my water and my fitness and things like that. Also in here though is my new Whip Go board. Last year's Whip Go board. If you don't know what Whip Go is, go see Jessie Marie Does Stuff and she will explain it all to you. But last year my Whip Go board had 25 different projects on it pretty much, and every month 2 were picked and I was supposed to work on each one for 5 days, and I think it turns out that I will avoid that because 5 days is probably just too long for me to work on anything in a row. And then I could let myself at that point, if I didn't do it that month I could do it the next month, but then I just keep procrastinating and it didn't happen. So I've changed my own rules this year for my Whip Go, and I didn't put project names on my board. It's just written in my planner. And it's just like stitching tasks to do, like finish a whip, or 300 stitches on a whip, or full coverage stitching 500 stitches. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm allowing myself to complete a task multiple times in a month too. The trick is I have to do it within the month. I can't carry it over. So there's a little bit of pressure on me that will hopefully keep me from not doing it at all, like what happened last year. And I also let myself start this on the day the numbers were called because I felt inspired to work on things then. And so the numbers get called for Whip Go on the 25th of the month. And so I've already worked on a lot of these. I already have one entire goal done. So chosen this month was 300 stitches on a whip. And I've already done it, I think, 7 times. And then the other one is to FFO a whip or a finished object from the box of shame of projects that are upstairs. So I haven't done that yet, but I have taken the time to pick out what I want to finish, and I have a plan for finishing them. And that's kind of 7 steps ahead of where I usually am. I do have a couple projects that I've fully finished since the last time I was here. I'm going to insert some pictures because I don't have them. One's kind of large and the other ones have been given away. I made ornaments for my friends at school. I used the Fat Quarter Shop Cookie Cutter Christmas pattern that came out this year, and I had their floss pack, but I changed some of the background colors. If it was a red background and I thought it blended with the gingerbread color too much, I'd switch it to the blue or the green. And then I used their little tarp tins to finish them. And I got some of the 2.5-inch sticky circles, and those are great. And I also ran out of them, so I traced one and cut it out, and that wasn't even too bad. So it all worked out really nice. They went together, and they were pretty. So, and my friends were all very kind about it. Another fully finished object that I had was my friend at school asked me to make an ornament for her family member for Christmas, and so I did. And it was a baby's first Christmas ornament. And the pattern is an Erica Made Designs. She's a quilter, but she came out with cross stitch patterns. Last year it was the 12 Stitchy Days of Christmas. And then she also had a monthly design last year with a truck on it. And so I took her December truck and just changed December into the baby's name, which is Jude. And I thought it turned out really cute. It's Christmassy and kind of baby and boy all at the same time. And Jessie said that her sister-in-law loved it. So pretty happy about that. And then I also finally finished my Christmas list by Silver Creek Samplers. That was a big one I finished a year or two ago, and it's just been sitting in the box of shame. And I finished it on a sled that was made for me by my friend Eric a couple of years ago also. And then on top of that, my friend Tracy made me a little mini wreath, and I just thought the whole thing came together so nicely. And that sits at the top of my stairs as you come into my home. I just love it. So that's a lot of finishing right there. That was 9 different projects that didn't go in the box of shame. So I'm going to continue to work on emptying that box of shame this month. I have pulled aside, I think 5 or 6 that I hope to fully finish this month to get rid of that with Go Goal. But even if I do 1, it counts. I'd like to do a bunch. And then maybe this will really help me clean out everything that's been piling up. So that's my plans for the year. Since then, and since last time I've seen you, I've worked on a lot of different projects. I'm probably even missing some, and I just don't remember what they are. Because my planner also started to get neglected this year because it was not very cute, and I started to just, ignore it. So hopefully the cute planner gets used more. I was a part of the Holiday Countdown Sal this year by Modern Folk Embroidery, Leo and Roxy Floss Co. and Evertoads. And this was a really great Christmas countdown. It was an affordable Christmas countdown compared to other ones I've done in the past. And I loved that you got a daily dose of stitching. I just messed mine up so royally that when it was December 15th and it was the last week of school and I realized I had made this huge error, I just couldn't face it. But I'm not done with it. I want to finish it and fix it. The tricky part about this Sal for me, and if you do this next year and it's done the same way at all, you should hear this and be warned, that the pattern came on these little tiny cards. Adorable, great. But one day I felt like it was going to be hard to count and I knew I'd mess it up. And so I didn't stitch it, and I waited until the next day to get more of like a border that I could see to help me count the rest of it. And that's when I didn't realize that there was a 3-stitch gap, because you only see the gap one day, but you don't even really notice it because it doesn't really show parts that would or would not be touching. It was like these little white bits, and I just messed it all up. And so now mine is going to need some frogging because it's supposed to have a 3-stitch gap in between the 2 halves of the sampler. Mine does not, which I'm okay with, except then other parts of mine are off. And so I have to decide, do they need to be adjusted or not? Is it noticeable or not? But see this band right here? You can see how it's not going to match up over here like it did on the middle. And I think that's about when I noticed how wrong I was. So I don't know. I don't mind it. It just needs work. I love the colors of this. It's such a fun, happy stitch. Oh, so fun. And I just don't know exactly what to do. I don't really want to frog all of that because I don't know if it's going to look okay. I don't know if the linen's going to like handle me frogging all of that. But maybe I should. I don't know. Please let me know your thoughts because it's so close to being so great. And then I just did that. Ugh, right? Ugh, but I love it. So that was one Sal I was participating in. That was a fail for me. Let's see. I won't go there yet. I've done this video once before, and I'm refilming because I talked so fast, and it was like a complete sugar high that nobody should have to witness. So you're getting a more calm, put together me right now, if you can imagine. Another Sal I participated in was the Joy of Winter Sal, and this was hosted by Stitchy Sally, and she has great videos. She has beautiful projects. You've got to go check out her videos. And I got put in this group by my friend Judith, the ex-stitching librarian, on Instagram, and she pulled together a group of very kind, positive people, and I will put their Instagrams below, and you got to check out their stuff too. You'll get to see their finishes. And we all were working on this free pattern that was by Stitches Through the Years. And I guess it's Lana Linskaya. It's a beautiful pattern. It's really quite enjoyable to stitch. I pulled everything for it from Stash. So I had a piece of color and cotton cobblestone. And then I just pulled colors from Stash. I decided to lighten up the blue in the project to match my home a little bit more. And I do really, truly love it. Jumbled there. And this is my progress that I got done. Hoping you'll be able to see the color there a little better, because that blue, it's not showing, but it really does pop on the cobblestone fabric. Yeah, it's coming up a little more faded than it actually is. But oh, it's lovely pattern, so fun. And it was a project that I found I hadn't made huge mistakes on, which was really refreshing. After all the modern folk embroidery nonsense I'd gone through, it felt really nice. I didn't get a ton of time to stitch on it before Christmas, but I'm not putting it away because it's too much fun. And I kind of have a plan for working on Sal's this month too, that I'll get to. So, lovely project. Greatly enjoyable. I have that in a fur-covered dot goose bag. Oops. So, I'm going to try to be a little bit more organized than I was last time as well. It's not really going that well. It's just piles of projects that get moved from one side to the other. Okay, so one of the first projects I pulled, I have a wheel of all of my works in progress that I just spin on my phone, and I randomized it because if I don't randomize it, some projects will never see the light of day. And this is one of them. It's the Frightful Mystery Sampler by Lizzie Kate, and this is one I've been stitching on a piece of linen I dyed myself, and I was down to this blue border. And so I spun it on my wheel for my whipco board, and I did 300 stitches, and 300 stitches, it seems like, is very good for my short attention span. And I did them. So I got the next row basically done and started the word Halloween. There's going to be a big H in there. And so I got some work done, and it was enjoyable. And then I got to put it away, and I felt really good about that too. So I'm hopeful that this one will see the light of day again, and maybe it'll get done this year. Maybe a lot of them will get done this year. But that felt really good. So, there's that. Another spin for my whipco. I'm leaving patterns out. I also, on my first filming, found a needle on the floor already too. Just not to be trusted. Also, Flosstube nose itch is real. Okay, so this one is one I started for March Madness a few years ago when I did March Madness and almost did it correctly. This is Spring Has Sprung by Country Cottage Needleworks. I'm stitching this on a piece of, I think it's like, I don't know, it's just like a basic silvery gray linen, and I did 300 stitches, and that was enough for me to stitch the bunny in the wrong place, decide to not frog it, and just make the hill a little different to encapsulate my new bunny, and then I'm just leaving the rest of it as is, and my bunny should blend in just fine. So they're getting there. The bunnies show up a little bit better than they're showing up on camera. Yeah, that's probably closer. And then they both still need French knots for their eyes, but there's a third bunny, and I'll probably do all the French knots at the same time. So I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know, 300 stitches. It's like enough to see progress, but not enough for me to get bored or frustrated. Here's another one in that pattern category of I haven't been stitching it, but because I spun it for whipco, I worked on it more. So this is A Year of Celebrations, the first one, not the new one. first one, which I got probably the year it came out. I've been working on August, and I was fully stuck on August, and I'm still on August, but the end is in sight now. Sorry, this one's in a plastic bag. I watched Flosstube with earbuds last week, and now I get what everybody's talking about. So sorry about my crinkle sounds, but I was able to finish the watermelon that says sunny and get more of that border and ants done. And all that's left is the word August and a little bit more flower here. So that's closer. And it actually got out. I got to come downstairs for a little while. Big day for it. I spun Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt. It's an It's So Emma pattern from Fat Quarter Shop. And this is one that's just been riding around in my vehicle for a long time, so it got to get out of my vehicle, where it was just sitting in the back of the seat. And I worked more on that middle motif using the called for DMC on the matching piece to my other quilty one that I can't think of the name of, but it's coming along. I have to change my needle for this project. I get very frustrated stitching this one right now because of the needle I have in here. It's too sharp. My finger actually gets very sore stitching it. And so I think if I adjust that, it'll be a less painful piece to work on. But my craft room is like slightly a disaster right now, so I've been avoiding going to look for needles. At school this year, during lunches for the holiday season, I was working on Oh Dear, which was a stitch quarterly pattern from Fat Quarter Shop, and I got the full kit last year. And I had worked on this one on my flight out to Arizona, and then I didn't touch it the entirety of the year. And then I worked on it at lunch, and I was able to get the ears filled in, and I'm working on the head moving down towards the eyes, but this is a monster pattern. I've been working on this one at lunch, so I get like maybe 10 minutes, depending on how fast I eat. And then also I was able to stitch on it a few stitches at my after school cross stitching program. I have to show you guys. I received this amazing package in the mail from a viewer. Her name is Ann Roberts. She so kindly sent me a lovely card. And then she sent me this bag full of goodies for the kids. And I mean, it's got a nice fob on the end. And then it's got these guys to help them hold linen. And another little pouch that was filled with more treasures. Like floss, which we always need, especially black. Like so many of the simple designs use a lot more black than you'd realize. A little flower needle threader, which they're not very good at threading needles yet, so we use those tools quite a bit. A little alphabet pattern, which I'm pretty sure that my mom used to have this pattern too in her stash back when I was learning to stitch. And then a Lizzie Kate pattern, and Hey Heifer, little cow, and then a collection of Lizzie Kate snippets. The generosity among stitchers is epic. So it's got like the little alphabet snippets, which, oh, these are so great. Whole collection of those though. So thoughtful. And, not even done yet, some pink Aida cloth. So far, all of my students have chosen to use the plastic grid. My current group is 4th grade, and they're closer to trying the Aidas, but my next group is 5th graders. My next 2 groups are 5th graders, so I think they're going to be willing to try some of these fancier things. And then also in this package of goodness from Anne were some embroidery hoops too. So generous. I'll be taking all of this into school. I do think that my older kids will be excited to use it all. And just making that cross-stitching love grow. I've learned some things about stitchers in general from teaching this after-school program. One, it doesn't matter how old or young you are, as soon as you start a cross-stitch project, all you can talk about is what you're stitching next. Kids are not different, they do that too. Thank you so much, Anne. Oh, so excited to share all of that with them. I don't want to do that one yet. This is one I haven't worked on recently, but I didn't show it in my last video, and I had worked on it. This is another Modern Folk Embroidery Evertote and Leo and Roxy Yarn Co. It is the Moonlight Cabin. I'm sure you've seen it. And back in November, I think, before I filmed last, I had worked on it and then forgotten that I worked on it. And I was able to finish the top right pattern because the pattern's divided into 4 pages. So it's basically a page finish. And I was really excited to get to use the little bit of red right there on the birdie. Oh, so fun. So that's about 25% done now. Another Modern Folk Embroidery pattern, but that one hasn't broken my heart yet. Yeah, it'll probably happen. They usually do. I'm gonna get better at them though. I also spun my whip-go wheel to get to my Scary Apothecary by Hands On Design, which has not seen the light of day in some time. And I was about to start Cackle Lozenges. I didn't have a single stitch done, and I still have to finish this thread, I think, to hit my 300 stitches. I think I've only done like close to 250, but I was able to get it outlined, the whole thing, and that used up the last of that color for me, so I have to go check to my stash to see if I have more of it. But I now have 3 done and the 4th one started. And it's a good start because that border, once you have that in, they tend to fill up a little easier. But color a little more true. Yeah, like that. I don't know. Something like that. And then, back in December, I also was able to work on my Kringles by Little House Needleworks. Let's talk about rooftops, which is where I started this pattern, which was probably for the best because this is not a part of the pattern you ever would want to get to last that I can imagine. But, whew, so I finished this time all of the white of the roof, and I extended it further to the left. But, wow, it's just so much stitching. It doesn't go fast. I'm doing it 1 thread over 2 on a 32 count Dapple by Picture This Plus. Look at this floss tag. I don't know if you can see it. Like, Apollo loves to hole punch with his very sharp lion teeth. Poor thing. So I worked on it. The roof isn't done. And I'm getting to the point where I'm really excited to like do one of these shopping windows, right? Like those look like so much fun to stitch, but I'm here. This will be fun, but I'm here. Hopefully I work on it more throughout the year because it is very enjoyable. And then another this year's whip-go wheel that I worked on was Tree of Magic. It's a Nitka Moscow kit designed by Barbara Anna, and these can be ordered through Creative Poppy. And I did 300 stitches on my Tree of Magic. Gosh, Barbara Anna designs are so fun. Mostly I worked down here. I know I did the key and these flowers and just a little more detail, and I worked more on the tree trunk. And those 300 stitches went really fast. And it didn't quite finish that bottom, but I felt good about the progress of it. I was also working on it, realizing that I probably shouldn't keep these in the tube anymore because the pattern's kind of a pain to work with when I leave it all curly. But I didn't take any steps to correct it at all. I just left it back in the tube. So the last, nope, I have 2 more. The penultimate whip here was my Some Enchanted Evening Haid, Heaven and Earth Designs, designed by Randall Spangler. He's the artist, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And this is when I started during COVID. And I started with a highlighter and the paper, and I didn't have Pattern Keeper, but then I got Pattern Keeper and I was working on other things, but I finally got this in there and I've been working on it, and oh, it's so lovely. It's about 35% done now. I'm also using this for our 100 Days of Hate challenge in the Stitch Talk Facebook group. They have excellent challenges if you're trying to get things done. This one you had to start the challenge on the 1st, so yesterday, and I'm doing the baseline 50 stitches a day, which doesn't take very long at all, especially not doing it cross country. Before I was parking, and so now I'm getting rid of all my park threads. There used to be so many, and that's all that's left for me to get rid of. And that way I just stitch until I run out of thread, and I can bring the stitches as far down as I can see. It's almost time to move it on the Q-snap too. Oh, that is a beautiful design. The level of detail in it just astounds me, considering it's a story keep, so it's only this wide and it's quite long. But wow. And I will this week have a page finish, which is also kind of cool. My first ever Heaven and Earth Designs page finish. But a lot of my second pages already started. So well, hopefully I'll continue to make good progress on that. I do want to work more on my sunflower cottage as well. And then I accidentally bought another full coverage pattern, which was by Little Loops Design. And it was the Gingerbread House. Oh, so pretty. Okay, so the last piece that I've been working on that I can think of is the Fox by Cottage Garden Needleworks. And I love this piece. He's stunning. And I got him out yesterday because I decided that he's a piece that I love to work on. I did do 300 stitches on him. Is that right? Yeah. I did 300 stitches on him for WhipGo. And as I was doing those 300 stitches, I thought, this is the project that I don't want to put away after 300. So my fox now has a completed head and a little cabin, and he has a tail started. And let's see if I can get this to focus a little better. Maybe not. Boy, it's hard to get this to focus today, but it is winter lighting. So it's coming along. And I've started his chest over here and his back over here, and I just think he's stunning and so enjoyable to work on. So I plan on finishing him this January, which Joe Belushi Stitches and Emma at Emma X Stitching are doing a sal, because they're the queen of sals, but this one is finishing all the sals. I'll put the hashtag below. And this is a sal, a Year in the Woods sal that I'd like to work on. My goal is to get the fox done. I also want to work on the Joy of Winter sal. And I have 7 other unfinished sals. But I also decided that Mondays, especially in January, because I get this Monday off and then I get Martin Luther King Day off as well, I'm going to make those Modern Folk Embroidery Mondays every Monday. And the project I focus on will be a Modern Folk Embroidery project, because I currently have 4 in progress. And even though it's probably a mistake, I really want to start the 2023 as well. I haven't decided on colors yet. I'm going to be looking to see what people are posting now, because I need a little inspiration. So Mondays I'm going to do Modern Folk Embroidery and try to fix up my holiday countdown, work more on my 22 and 21 sals. Moonlight Cabin would count. So I have a wheel spinner for that, and then I'm also going to start the 2023. It seems like a good idea, right? And then my WhipGo challenge, I have if I need it, and I have plenty to work on right now. My only new start I'm currently planning is the 2023 Modern Folk Embroidery, but I know Lala D Stitches is thinking Frosty Forest for a start this month, and so I might join in on that because I do have the patterns. And there's another one that, I was thinking about working on my Snow Village. I have had it kitted forever by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I haven't started. And it's fabric, it's thread, it's linen, ready, and that's a big one. So I might start that one as well, just to have it going. But otherwise, I'm going to hopefully keep being inspired by everybody else's videos and progress on their projects, and just spend my winter stitching, because it's the best time of year for stitching. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you had a lovely holiday season, and that if you're in a winter area right now, enjoy your warm homes. If you're in the southern hemisphere, send me some of your summer, please. All right. I hope everybody takes care. I'll hopefully see you soon, maybe again this month, if things work out. All right.